Thanks, and welcome to my latest Godzilla Re-Review. A contentious film in the Godzilla franchise, though it's not as aggressively hated on as the previous movie. Today I'll be talking about 1967's Son of Godzilla, directed by Jun Fukuda, written by Shinichi Sekizawa and Kazue Shiba, starring Akira Kubo, Tadao Takashima from King Kong vs. Godzilla, Bibari Maeda, and Akihiko Hirata. Joining me today is... Joining me today is... What do you go by, movie buff or cinematic trash?
I started a segment. I'll go by cinematic trash this time.
Okay. Joining me is Movie Buff Productions' second alternate persona, cinematic trash. Once again.
Hey everyone.
And you didn't say Moo Moo fans this time.
I have to think of a different slogan, different saying.
Alrighty, so before we get to the plot, let me just get some things out of the way. So yes, I did say that this movie is pretty contentious in the Godzilla fan base. Like with Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, I see this pop up. On Godzilla movies that people hate and Godzilla movies that people love. I've seen it pop up on top 10 worst Godzilla movies all the time, and I've seen quite a few videos stating that this is one of their favorite Godzilla movies all the time. However, this movie isn't as viciously attacked as the previous film, at least not that I've seen. Even the people who dislike the movie say it's got some funny moments and it definitely is better than Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. To which, in this case, I do also agree. In many ways, at least not from a technical standpoint, Son of Godzilla definitely is better than Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. For one thing, this movie isn't a case where it was supposed to be this movie, but it got transformed into this. This is an original screenplay. It doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel like a TV. Well, no, it kind of does feel like a TV episode, but not as bad. And just in general, it in my opinion, I do think it is an overall better film than Godzilla vs. Sea Monster. And in case you're wondering, yes, I do consider this to be one of my favorite Godzilla movies. In fact, in many ways, I do like this movie more than Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. So, trash.
Like this movie more than Godzilla's vs. Revenge.
Did I say that?
But do you like this more than Godzilla's Revenge?
Yeah.
All right.
So, what's your history with this movie, trash?
I watched this when I was really young on Crackle.
Of all things.
When it was still on Crackle. Then I got my hands on a copy of it on VHS, and it seems like finding a DVD copy of it is hard now.
Well, it's because the 50th anniversary DVDs are out of print now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I was able to get mine while they were still in print.
Yeah, I'm always looking for when someone does have $60, I just don't have that kind of money.
Well, how much did you spend on Seven Samurai?
Would you believe me if I told you?
I don't see why you'd lie to me.
$3.
Lucky bastard.
I mean, it's a VHS copy, but the guy that was selling it...
Oh, get the fuck out of here. Fuck VHS.
I can't. Yeah, well...
Anyway, moving on.
At least I have it.
Moving on, your history with the film.
Oh yeah, then I got it on VHS, and to this day, it's the only copy I have of it. I have ordered it on DVD from the Blockbuster Q when it was still around. and then again on the Amazon thing, but my subscription ended, so the VHS tape is the only way of watching it from now on.
Well, at least until Criterion releases their scheduled Godzilla movies on DVD. Hopefully, they release them on DVD.
Has I've seen some of those Toho collection DVDs where there's like
Son of Godzilla is on a couple of those, though those are also out of print and insanely expensive.
because I remember it wasn't so long ago when they were still selling them, but now I don't see them anymore. It's like I guess they're out of print then.
Who knows? So, what is your overall thoughts on Son of Godzilla?
In my opinion, it's a mixed bag. There's some there are some good things, and then there are some bad things. And overall, it's not a serious movie, and you shouldn't watch this expecting a serious movie.
No. If you watch this movie expecting it to be serious, one, you're stupid, but B, whoa.
I mean, if you watch this movie expecting it to be like Son of Kong, then that's...
Oh god, this movie eclipses Son of Kong. 9 Star Wars films are being developed. Oh my god. Star Wars I got a video notification from Stupendous Wave News. 9 Star Wars films are being developed.
Is that real? 9?
They're turning Star Wars into the MCU.
Wait, is this including or not including Episode 9?
I don't know. Hopefully one of those is 5 Darth Vader movies and 3 Darth Maul movies.
I mean, I knew they were talking about they already started talking about episodes 10, 11, and 12, but 9 already?
Yep, Disney is riding on the MCU. That's a totally different topic. My apologies. I mean, if I had editing software, I'd edit all that out, but I don't. So, if you go into this movie expecting it to be serious and dark and gritty, one, you're kind of an idiot because this movie is called Son of Godzilla. And two, you will hate this movie if you go into it thinking that it's serious. But if you do go into this movie expecting it to be fun, expecting it to be campy, and expecting it to be not serious, if you're going to expecting it to be goofy, I think you'll absolutely love this movie. It is a very, very good campy Godzilla movie. One of the best.
If you're expecting Godzilla's Revenge, but 100 times better.
Yeah, you'll definitely get that with this. So, let's get into the plot of Son of Godzilla. This might be another short episode too, because the plot to this movie is kind of simple once again. So, a team of scientists on Solgal Island. Jesus, how many fucking islands are there in the Godzilla universe?
There's Infant Island.
There's Infant Island. There's Odo Island. There's the island from Raids Again. There's Faroe Island. There's Lecce Island. There's Solgal Island. Monster Island. I think that's it. That's 7 islands in the Showa Godzilla series. Anyway, so that's.
I wonder if they're all filmed on the same island.
Maybe. I couldn't really tell you that. I wouldn't be surprised if at least these 2 were filmed on the same island because they look similar, but they also do look different.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. The cinematography for both of these movies is absolutely beautiful. I think, this one, the cinematography was done by Kazuo Yamada, and for, let's see. Hang on, I'm looking something up. Yeah, both of these movies, the cinematography was done by Kazuo Yamada, Sea Monster and Son of Godzilla. He's certainly a good cinematographer. That's for sure. Anyway, so a team of scientists are on Solgal Island are trying to perfect a weather controlling system. I guess it's like prototype Geostorm all over again. I haven't seen Geostorm, but we all know what that movie's like. We try to control the weather, but it goes haywire and ends up fucking us over. Their efforts are, of course, hampered by the arrival of yet another fucking nosy reporter. How many reporters are in the Godzilla franchise? Named Maki Goro, who oddly, another reporter in Godzilla 1984 would have the same name. Played.
How many Kenji Sahara doppelgangers are in the Godzilla?
And not just Godzilla, but in just Ishiro Honda and Toho movies in general. Maki Goro being played once again by Akira Kubo, back from Invasion of the Astro Monster. And they're also, the scientists' efforts are hampered by the presence of 2-meter tall red giant praying mantises. First off, I've always been freaked out by praying mantises. I think those are nasty little bastards.
Yeah.
And after a few weeks, the first test of the weather control system is initiated, and at first it seemingly goes well. However, it goes awry when the remote control for a radioactive weather balloon is somehow jammed by an unexplained signal coming from the center of an island, or from an island of the island. The balloon detonates before it can reach its designated altitude, which causes a radioactive storm to rain upon the island, which pours torrential radioactive hot heavy rain down upon the island for several days. I actually think it's it's stated it's 4 days. For 4 days straight, hot heavy rain is excuse me, cascaded upon the island, which causes the giant mantises to grow to enormous sizes. So investigating the bugs, which are called Kamacarus, however,
Gimantis in the English dub version.
Yeah, Gimantis in the English dub, which is a terrible fucking name. The scientists find the giant bugs digging what looks like an egg, a giant egg, out of a big pile of dirt. The egg hatches, revealing it to be a baby Godzilla that looks like the Cookie Monster and Elmo.
Pillsbury Doughboy.
Oh boy. So, the scientists realize that the interference that fucked with the weather experiment was actually the baby's telepathic cries for help. And then afterwards, Godzilla arrives on the island in response to the infant's cries, which he destroys the scientist's base in the process of rushing to defend the baby Godzilla. Godzilla proceeds to kill 2 of the 3 giant mantises during the film's first monster battle, and one of them manages to fly away to safety. And after walking away for some reason, Godzilla comes back, swings his tail in front of the baby Godzilla, and adopts the little boy. Can't deny it's a pretty cute scene to see Godzilla walk away with baby Godzilla on his tail.
But that was after he clobbers him.
Yeah. Godzilla's an abusive parent. I hate being a single father. I will take out my rage on you. Fuck.
Is Manila actually Godzilla's biological son?
It's never been stated. It has never been confirmed on if these two are biologically related or not. Though I think the general consensus is No, Godzilla just adopted Manila. Speaking of which, the baby Godzilla, who is named Manila, Minilla, grows to be about half the size of the adult Godzilla, and when he's a little older, Godzilla instructs him on the important skills of being a monster, such as roaring and using his atomic ray. However, because he's so young, Manila has difficulty producing anything more than just atomic smoke rings. However, Godzilla discovers that when Manila is in stress, such as having his tail being stomped on, or some kind of motivation, Manila produces a true atomic ray. While this is going on, the scientists just kind of decide, you know what, our research place is just so fucked up, but we have a problem, so we may as well just give up on the experiment. But our radio's fucked up, so we need to fix that, but we have no place to stay. So Maki Goro discovers a native female that lives on this island, played by Beverly Maeda, named Saiko Matsumiya, but in the English dub, she's called Reiko for some reason. This movie doesn't have the greatest dub, in my opinion. The voice, we don't get any annoying voices, but just the urge to name all the monsters and characters different names, I just find to be extremely irritating. Anyway, so Maki Goro, she allows the team to stay in the cave that she's lived in this entire time, which is, it's established that the temperatures on this island are extremely uncomfortable, and it's much cooler down in the cave, which does make sense. Caves are secluded from the outside heat, so they would be a lot cooler. So Psycho allows the group to stay there, while Akiko Hirata's character fixes the radio. And while Psycho is out collecting medicine for the scientists when they come down with some type of tropical illness, she is attacked by a Kamacuras. And while Manila comes to her aid, having befriended her, in another previous pretty cute scene where Psycho cuts off a piece of fruit and tosses it to Manila to eat, which is in a horrendous composite shot. I will give this movie that. This movie does not have very good composite shots. But while trying to save Psycho from a Kamacuras, Manila inadvertently awakens a giant spider named Kumunga. Spyga in the English dub.
Spyga. Oh my gosh.
What's up with these stupid names?
Spyga.
A giant spider that was sleeping in a valley somewhere. Kumunga proceeds to attack the cave where the scientists are hiding, and Manila stumbles upon Kamacuras' web. I almost called him Spyga. Kamacuras' web, and Kumunga proceeds to trap Manila and the final Kamacuras in its web. On the last Kamacuras, Godzilla shows up. Godzilla saves Manila, and pretty much the rest of this movie involving the monster. Yeah. They work together to defeat Kumunga by using both of their atomic rays at once to kill him, and then hoping to keep the monsters from interfering with their attempt to escape this island. The scientists perfect their weather technology on the island, and the once tropical land becomes buried in snow and ice. And as the scientists are saved by an American submarine, Godzilla Manila... Your phone keeps buzzing.
Sorry.
And as Godzilla Manila begin to hibernate in a pretty cute scene at the end of the movie, where Godzilla walks up to Manila, and
hugs him.
Hugs him as we get Masaru Sato's really And then the film. You didn't like that scene?
I really liked it. It's one of the the I don't know if the best, one of the best scenes in the Godzilla franchise is a stretch, but it's really nice. It's really nice.
I ain't gonna lie, it made me cry the first time I saw this movie. And I didn't just cry, I was bawling the first time I saw this movie. I was fucking bawling. I'll be the first to admit it.
Was this the first attempt to humanize Godzilla?
This is where they took the humanization of Godzilla like to the nth degree. And it probably is the most drastic example of humanizing Godzilla in the entire, at least in the entire Showa series. So that's this movie's plot. It definitely is a little more complicated than Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. This doesn't feel like an extended episode of a TV series, but also in other ways, it's probably as simple as Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. In fact, I was really tempted to review both Sea Monster and Son of Godzilla in one video because, in my opinion, these movies go together so well, like bread and butter. Not just because they're directed by Jun Fukuda, but their tones are similar. They're both goofy movies. They both take place on tropical islands. Just in my opinion, these two movies will make a great double feature.
What else has Jun Fukuda directed? I wonder if all his other movies...
Jun Fukuda, as far as his Godzilla movies go, he directed Sea Monster, Son of Godzilla, Gigan, Megalon, and Mechagodzilla 74.
Ooh. That's Godzilla versus... I mean, all three of those, Mechagodzilla, Megalon, Gigan, those are all pretty brutal Godzilla movies, and they tone down on the silliness.
They tone down the goofiness, but they don't tone down the campiness.
Maybe not with Mechagodzilla, but not Megalon, but they're very different compared to Sea Monster and Son of Godzilla.
That is true. Yes. And also, I will applaud Jun Fukuda for this movie because he definitely, well, it's still pretty early Jun Fukuda for at least in terms of Godzilla movies. You can definitely tell that he's ironed out his Godzilla filmmaking ways quite a bit over the course of just 1 year.
Yeah.
From the previous movie to this movie, he definitely does feel like he has a lot more experience dealing with Godzilla, and that definitely is a good thing.
Oh, he directed some of Zone Fighter.
He did, yes, as well as Ishiro Honda. Ishiro Honda directed a few episodes of that show. So let's get on to the pros of Son of Godzilla. You can go first, Trash.
Pros. Oh, the costumes. I can't stand the costumes.
Pros, not cons. Pros.
Pros.
Pros are good. Pros are good things.
I got it. I like the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, the music's pretty good.
Masaru Sato.
The ending. Yeah, the ending is really touching. You don't really get to see that a lot in the Godzilla movies. Godzilla, a lot of Godzilla movie endings always seemed kind of rushed or depressing. If you know
Rushed, yes. Depressing, no, not really.
Well, the first movie?
I wouldn't say that's depressing. I more just call it bittersweet. But anyway, continue.
Well, at least yeah, they all did seem rushed. I have to say they're all rushed. This one seemed like it had some heart to it, which you don't really get to see a lot. They always ended with the monster walking away, and
or the monsters falling off a cliff into the ocean.
yeah, it just seemed like a lot like a cop out. This one seemed like it had some heart to it. Like the ending was meant something, you know.
That's fair.
And on top of that, this movie was I can say it had a lot of entertaining moments, like when Godzilla first comes.
Yep.
And he fights the Kamakas for the first time. That was an epic showdown. When I say epic, it was more like Godzilla. I don't know if Godzilla really fought in this style before yet, but he would grab the Kamakas by the legs and just throw it down, and he just beat the shit out of him.
If Godzilla fought Kumonga in the Showa series or in the 70s era, he definitely would have done that to Kumonga as well. Grab Kumonga by one of his legs, spin him around, and just toss him, like he would do kind of in Final Wars.
Yeah. The acting's good.
Acting's pretty solid. Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little confused about the girl that was there. Was she like a native, or did she go there and stay there? Like,
she wasn't a native. I kind of used poor choice of words. She and her father, like she was raised by her father on this island after World War II, but after he passed away, she didn't know other life, so she just stayed there.
Huh. That's odd. Why would someone? I mean, I know like when someone like is like really successful and they have a lot of money, so they buy an island and they live there. But to like raise a child there,
Like Raymond Burr,
like drop dead, and like.
Well, it's explained. I think it was explained that Seiko's father was killed by Kumonga.
Oh.
But continue.
I thought the Kumonga's design is pretty cool.
He certainly does look like a giant spider.
Yeah, at least they had some good costumes and some bad costumes. I have to. Costumes are a mixed bag, but Kumonga's costumes are good.
Kumonga wasn't a costume. Kumonga was a puppet.
Well, you know what I mean. The design was good.
It's probably the only It's probably the only monster design in this movie that's good. Mostly good.
Yeah. Anyway, cons?
Sure, go ahead.
Godzilla and Manila's design. Oh my.
I'll save my thoughts when I get to my cons. I have only one con for this movie, but go ahead.
Oh, the costumes are so bad. I know Cinemassacre said Godzilla looked like the Cookie Monster in Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, but I'd say he looks even more like the Cookie Monster this time around. I mean, his eyes, they stick out like out of his skull, you know? Like, it's like his googly eyes.
He also kind of looks like Oscar the Grouch.
Yeah. And then Manila, he looks like...
he looks like garbage.
He looks like...
Manila's design is not that good.
He looks like... Or his face...
He looks like a stoned Cookie Monster.
I mean, Manila's face looks like it was like a head that was pulled out of a Thomas the Tank Engine train. And, like, that's what's inside of it. Look up, like, Manila's face and then look up Thomas the Tank Engine. You're gonna laugh your head out. Oh, that's so funny.
But yeah, the designs for the monsters in this movie, are except for Kumonga, again.
Yeah. Um, Once again, the tone of this movie strays so far from the most of the other movies.
So
I don't know. The Godzilla franchise wasn't as consistent as a whole, but this one, like Godzilla's
are you
Revenge,
one of those people who
like,
prefers the darker Godzilla movies or something?
well, not really the darker Godzilla movies. It's just this one's like island, beach movie.
What's wrong with
Kind
those?
of like the movie. I don't know. It's just it's a lot different from the other Godzilla movies.
Fair enough.
I personally am not a fan of island and beach movies.
They can be formulaic, and if you watch enough of them, they can look pretty similar. But I kind of have a soft spot for them because
don't get me wrong. I like Castaway. Castaway was a good movie.
Still have not seen Castaway.
But then there's movies like Teen Beach Movie.
Oh.
Or shows like Total Drama Island.
Oh my god! I'll admit, I used to watch that show. Mainly just for the fat guy, because I thought he was funny.
Yeah, he
can he'll drink an entire 2 liter of soda and burp his ABCs with just one burp. I need to look that up when I'm done with this review.
You just told that to me. I'm like, what?
I mean, I can burp at will, but I'm not that good.
Oh my god. That is a sight to see.
I think I broke trash.
Oh my god. Okay.
Continue.
Anyway, as I was saying, I'm not a fan of beach movies, if you know what I mean. They're so too much. Is too much camp a thing? I mean, I like campy movies. It just depends on how campy it is. If it's too campy, and it's just like it just comes off as stupid, then you know what I'm trying to say. Like
I get it.
made too many. Yeah.
Any other cons that you want to list off?
No, that's it for me.
Alrighty, so I'll move on to my stuff. Pro number one is that the characters overall, they're very fun. Kira Kubo gives a really good performance as Goro. He's fun. He's energetic. He knows how to think on his feet. His banter that he has with the rest of the science crew, it's fun to watch. His relationship with Psycho, it's pleasant to watch because I definitely, they have. I get the feeling that they have feelings for each other. That sounded a little weird, but they just have good chemistry on screen. Tadao Takashima gives so much of a better performance than he did in King Kong vs. Godzilla. It's not even funny. As Professor Kasumi, he's the main scientist of the group, and he's not as old as he wasn't as old as he looks in this movie. They added a little like highlights to the gray highlights to his hair to make him look older than he was. That's really the only makeup that they used to make him look older. It looks good. And he gives so much of a better performance. He's not overly goofy. He's not over the top. He's not annoying. He's not stupid. Here he plays it pretty straight. though he has kind of a witty, smart-ass sense of humor to him, and it's pleasant. It's pleasant to watch, and he is a likable character. Beverly Maeda as Psycho Matsumiya. She's a pretty decent protagonist. She doesn't have that much dialogue, but she has great facial expressions. And she certainly does have a playful nature when she gets to know specifically Goro and Manila. As she gets to know those two, and her playful side is fun to watch. And Akihiko Hirata as Fujisaki, he's like the main technician of the group. He gives a pretty decent performance. It's in many ways it is better than his performance in Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, where he's not just playing a standard stereotypical cartoon villain. He's a lot more fun in this movie, and overall, I think it's a bit of an underrated performance. And Kenji Sahara is in this movie once again. I didn't even realize that was him. And the last actor I want to talk about is Yoshio Tsuchiya as Furukawa. Furukawa is the one member of this science team that, like, he's the first to go nuts, like really go nuts. He's clearly suffering from a case of both cabin fever and stir crazy. He doesn't like doing his job. He doesn't like being in blistering hot weather. He doesn't like dealing with giant kaiju all the time. He like halfway through the film, this is right before Godzilla shows up. Well, not really halfway through, but right before Godzilla shows up, he finally snaps. He picks up a gun. He starts shooting all about. I think he's clearly suffering from heat stroke in that scene. And also the second scene where he goes nuts, but during that he's sick with this tropical fever. But he's the first to go nuts, and Yoshio Tsuchiya does a really good job as Furukawa. I wouldn't quite say it's one of his best performances per se. Like, I'm gonna go as far to say that his performance as the controller from Planet X is his greatest performance. But what we have here is certainly good. And then, of course, Haruo Nakajima did not portray Godzilla in this movie. Well, he may have in a couple of scenes, but he wasn't the main suit actor for Godzilla. That was Hiroshi Sakita, who had previously, or not really, I don't think it was previously, but, or no, yeah, it was previously. He previously played Sanda in War of the Gargantuas, and he also later go on to play Gabara in Godzilla's Revenge, but he was kind of an off and on suit actor, and he was Haruo Nakajima's preferred partner in terms of kaiju battles, which is one reason why, admittedly, even though I kind of harped on it in my review, the fight between Gaira and Sanda in War of the Gargantuas is so well put together is because those two preferred to work with each other and they were comfortable working with each other, so they could choreograph their own fight scenes. And also, not to mention that Nakajima and Sakita were both martial artists, specifically Sakita, who is a polished karate expert. And also, Manila was played by Marchand the Dwarf. Who is a Japanese wrestler. He was like yay big. I mean, I suppose he does give a good performance. He definitely does come off like an infant.
I legitimately thought it was a kid.
I did too. And then I thought for a second, oh my god, is that Japanese Mini-Me?
Japanese Mini-Me.
He kind of looks like an Asian version of Mini-Me. Though may Vern Troyer rest in peace. But overall, the characters are very fun. And this leads into pro number 2, is that the monster humor just the movie's humor overall, it's very good. It's not really like slapsticky like it was in a previous film, and it is kind of goofy, but it's a different kind of goofy in this movie. It's more like clever dialogue and uncomfortable scenarios and smart ass remarks. That's the humor in this movie. Where it gets kind of slapsticky is when it deals with the monsters, specifically anything that involves Manila, like seeing Manila's facial expression when he gets his tail stepped on,
Yeah.
or watching Manila play jump rope with Godzilla's tail, him trip and fall, then Godzilla like giving him the stink eye, and then Manila giving him the head nod, like "Come on, please." Then and Godzilla just goes back to sleep. It's very childlike, but not in like the not in an insulting way. It actually is pretty cute to watch. Pro number
I
3.
don't know if this. I don't know if it's a stretch for me to say that this is the most child-friendly Godzilla movie.
I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. I'd probably say this is the most like it. I have shown this movie to my sister. I think she was about 4 at the time. She loved it. There were moments where she was laughing her ass off watching this movie. Anyway, pro number 3 is that the movie is very well paced. It's kind of similar to Sea Monster, where the movie is overall very it's kind of quickly paced. However, unlike Sea Monster, the third act of this movie doesn't speed up to Mach 5 at the very end. It just kind of keeps that consistent, quick pace throughout the movie, and which is certainly good. You never really bored watching any scene, at least in my opinion. And this is, once again, it's another shorter Godzilla movie. It's 86 minutes long. But it doesn't feel too short, but it also doesn't feel long, which is good. Pro number 4 is the music score by Masaru Sato. Great job. Once again, very, very good job. I think in some ways, Sato's score is better than the Sea Monster score. It doesn't feel like a James Bond ripoff. His score for this movie definitely feels very original, and it fits this movie very, very well. It fixed this movie. In fact,
I always thought Godzilla vs. Sea Monster music felt like right out of Hawaii 5-0. You know?
That too, yes. But this movie score is very fun. It's very catchy. At times it's cute. And that's what I love about some certain music scores is when they fit. It's like they were made to go along with scenes in the movie. And that's something that Akira Fukube would do for his Godzilla scores in the Heisei era. He would have test footage of Godzilla scenes like be projected in front of him and his like group of instrument players, and they would play music to go along with the action. It feels like this movie's score was made to go along with the scenes on film, and I really do like music scores that do that because I feel like they perfectly complement those scenes. This movie is no exception. Pro number 5 is the monster characterization, specifically for Godzilla and Manila. Godzilla's characterization in this movie, in my opinion, I think it's fantastic. It's really intriguing to see how Godzilla reacts to becoming a father. Because he spent the rest of this well, at least since Raids Again, he spent this franchise clearly just being the angry loner.
Yeah.
And it's been nice seeing him evolve into something more over the course of this franchise. He took a big step forward in Ghidorah Three-Headed Monster. He didn't really take any steps forward in Invasion of the Astro Monster. I mean, I love that movie, but he didn't really take any steps forward, mostly because he spent a good majority of his screen time under mind control. Mm-hmm. And in the previous movie, he was channeling King Kong because he was originally supposed to be King Kong. In this movie, his characterization takes a giant step forward. And for me, I think it's really cool. I think it's really, really cool to see. It's very intriguing. It's very fascinating. It's very enjoyable. And also Manila's characterization, it's very amusing to watch. Yeah, there are some scenes where he does come off as annoying. I'll be the first to admit it. He is annoying at times, especially during the scenes where he's throwing a little temper tantrum and he's squeaking
Donkey.
like a donkey on helium. Yeah. There are some scenes when he's annoying, but there's a majority of his scenes I would definitely classify them as being cute. In fact, that's how I describe a good majority of this movie in general. It's cute. It's very cute. It's very fun. It's very funny. It's very heartwarming. Um, but overall, the monster characterization, it's very solid. Pro number 6 is that the monster battles, they're pretty fun. All kind of two of them. There's the first fight with Godzilla versus the first 3 Kamacuras. Then there's a final fight between Godzilla, Manila, and Kumonga. They're fun. They're fairly brutal, especially the first one where Godzilla kills one of the Kamacuras by just slamming it into the ground again and again and again and again. You see bug limbs flying all over the place. It's kind of brutal. And then he kills the second one by just frying it to a crisp. And then the long fight with Godzilla Manila versus Kumonga. It's fun to watch. It certainly isn't boring. That's for damn sure. They're well choreographed, especially with a man in a suit fighting puppets. It's pretty cool to see. Especially, I could only imagine how much of a pain in the ass the wire work used on Kumonga must have been. So kudos to them for that. And that leads into the last pro that I have for this movie, is that the special effects, not the designs, but the special effects, for the sets, the puppets, the special effects look great. Well, no, they look good. I wouldn't say these are some of the greatest Godzilla effects ever done, but they don't feel rushed like they did in Sea Monster. They don't feel like they were just pulled together on a shoestring budget. I can tell you can tell, except for the composite shots. The composite shots look like garbage, utter garbage. But other than that, the special effects are fine. You could tell they had a decent budget, and you can tell they really tried to take their time with this movie. And with Kumonga and Kamacuras both being exclusively puppets, the wire work for the puppets, it's very, very well done, especially for Kumonga. Kumonga moves in such a creepy fashion, it's not even funny. There's a couple scenes where I'm kind of afraid of spiders myself. I got a couple shivers going up my spine watching that thing move about.
Have you seen the movie Tarantula?
Oh, with Clint Eastwood in like 2 seconds of it? No, I have not. Though I only know of it because of Back to the Future 3.
Yeah.
I've heard it's not bad. Ish.
It's surprisingly decent.
It's typical 50s giant monster stuff.
Yeah, it's not as bad as the Deadly Mantis, But,
Deadly Mantis is bad?
Well, Tarantula is better than Deadly Mantis, but
I always thought Deadly Mantis looked kind of decent. Anyway, oh my God, there's a Son of Godzilla reference. I just now realized. Giant spider and giant praying mantis. I just now realized that.
Wow.
Okay. So this leads into the one con that I have with this movie, and that is the terrible monster designs. You could kind of count the terrible composite shots as like an unofficial con too, but this is my biggest problem with the movie, is the designs for the monsters. Again, outside of Kumonga, he looks like a giant spider. He's nothing else than that. He is a giant spider. My only minor issue is that I don't like his mandibles. Unlike real spiders, which use up and down going fangs, um,
Yeah.
Kumonga has like pincers that go back and forth, and they're serrated too. They look like steak knives. Those look a little stupid. I'll be the first to admit they look a little stupid. But if you kind of get past, and also Kumonga spits his webs from his mouth, quote unquote, unlike his ass. Um, and also when the webs are being, when they're not being sprayed from Kumonga's mouth, when they're just being thrown literally at the human characters, they look. That's exactly like they look like. They look like confetti being thrown at the actors, and it looks a little ridiculous.
Looks like silly string.
Yeah, it actually.
So someone has like a bunch of cans and they're just spraying them in the air and watching them fall.
It actually kind of would have been better if they used a shit ton of silly string, because at least it would have looked like silk. But whatever. But Kumonga looks fine. Kamacuras. My only real issue with Kamacuras is one, Kamacuras' legs are a little too skinny. His eyes, as creepy as they look, they're a little too big. But my biggest issue with Kamacuras is the claws. One is actually I have the design right here on the disc. One look they don't both of them don't look like this, but one of them looks like this like sword looking serrated thing, and the other one is like a serrated scythe shape. I would have much rather preferred it if they went with both of these serrated scythe shaped claws, because that's more anatomically correct to a real praying mantis, not the straight serrated sword shits. That totally should be the name for a band. Serrated sword shits.
You were just praising Kamacuras' design, and now you spent the last 5 minutes criticizing every little aspect of its costume.
Shut up. And I'm also not the biggest fan of. I'm not the biggest fan of the color red for the Kamacuras. Again, it's not very anatomic. Actually, no, it's not anatomically correct to a praying mantis at all. The most famous praying mantis color is leaf green, bright leafy green, not red. Mm-hmm. I've never seen a red praying mantis. And also, yeah, it's been said many, many times. Hang on, let me look up the design.
What do you think of the scene where Kumonga stabbed Godzilla in the
eye? Didn't really make any sense, because it had been established that the I guess I'll just call it a sticker. The sticker shoots out only like this far from Kumonga's mouth, yet it's made to look like Kumonga's here and Godzilla's up here. So how the hell does the sticker extend from here all the way up to here to get into Godzilla's eye?
Yeah.
The Musako Goji suit. That's what it's called. Musako. Used for the 1967 Godzilla film, Son of Godzilla. It has supposedly it has a human-like head with big eyes, heavy lids, and a really stubby nose. Yes, it does, which was done to make the suit more closely resemble Manila. And Godzilla's overall look was changed to still look intimidating, but at the same time look like a father figure. He has a much, much longer neck, and this was done to make him look taller than Manila, which wouldn't have made much of a difference anyway, because Marchand the Dwarf was like yay big, and the Godzilla suit is this big, so they still would have come off as being different sized.
They fucked up. His costume was such a mess.
Yeah, my main issue with the suit, the head looks stupid. Yes, he looks like
He looks
the
like Sid from Ice Age.
that too, but he looks like what's the word? He looks like the Cookie Monster. I hate his hands. He has really small hands and really bulgy, bulky, fatty arms. They just this suit looks disproportionate. Very, very disproportionate.
It's probably rushed.
Don't know. Oh yeah, and Manila. Yeah, Manila looks like shit. What can I really say about the Manila suit that hasn't been said already? Doesn't look like Godzilla. Looks like a kaiju version of the Pillsbury Doughboy, Elmo, and Cookie Monster's fuck child. It looks terrible. It looks terrible. Awful. Just absolutely terrible. So that'll about wrap it up. This review is longer than I expected. That'll about wrap it up for Son of Godzilla. What's your overall final thoughts for Son of Godzilla, Trash?
I'm like at a 4.5 out of 10.
Damn. Would you recommend it to new coming Godzilla fans?
I'd recommend it to my dad on Father's Day.
Oh, God. That's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, at least for me
I'd
it is.
say Godzilla fans might have a good time watching.
I'll say this. If you're a fan of the more campy Godzilla movies, you'll love this movie. If you're a closed-minded individual who only likes the darker Godzilla movies, I don't really need to say anything because you won't watch this movie because I guarantee you'll hate it. But if you like both, as I do, I was exposed to both the dark and the light, I still think you'll like this movie. You'll like it for what it is. Which is why I will give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's a very fun movie. It's a very enjoyable movie. Kind of like with Sea Monster, it is excellent material to have some friends together, get some pizza and some beer and burgers, and just have fun watching a fun movie. So 7.5 out of 10. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Trash, do you have anything to pimp out?
Don't subscribe to Movie Buff Productions. Subscribe to Cinematic Trash. That's the new channel
now. Yep. And you'll have some reviews coming out soon, won't you?
Yeah, I already posted one already. I posted a reaction to the new Halloween trailer, and then I posted a video on how to spot bootleg DVDs.
What happened to your Crypt of the Living Dead review?
Oh yeah, I did that too. It's on there. And up next is It's Alive, the 60s version, not the 70s version.
I've never seen those movies.
70. All right, It's Alive from 1974 is really good. Good cult horror film. 60s version is garbage.
Wow, that's original. I've never. Anyway, so yeah, push the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this video with your friends. Look forward to the next review where I talk about the big, bombastic, epic, highly disappointing, was supposed to be finale to the Godzilla franchise, 1968's Destroy All Monsters. Tune into that and go out and try to control the world's weather, fuck up and create a big giant race of bugs. And I will see you guys in the next one. Say bye, Trash.
See you around. See you around.
And I will see you guys in the next video.